everybody. Welcome to Aviation Business Series. Okay, so I have you here, and I'm always excited when I have you here because we do this together. And Aviation Business Series is here to make sure that we expand our knowledge, we explore opportunities, and we celebrate milestones. Today, we are glad to have two strong gentlemen with us, and we are speaking about being informed. July, we spoke to you and we explained that we really want to be developed. And being developed means that you have to be informed. I am excited to welcome these two great gentlemen. But before I do that, I will take a break. All right? I see you soon. Great. So who are these two gentlemen? Before I introduce them, please let me know you are with me. Just send me a hi, send me a hello. I'm sending mine now. Just send me a hi, send me a hello. Let me know you are with us. Okay. All right. Let me know that you're with us. Great. So I have the pleasure to be speaking with Kojo Bentum-Williams and also Dominick Andoh, two great gentlemen when it comes to communication. Kojo is a managing editor and publisher for Voyages Afriq travel magazine. Again, he's currently the senior expert for communications in Africa for the United Nations World Tourism Organization, UNWTO. Okay. Kojo has over 15 years in the industry. He's been working travel and tourism and PR as well. He used to work as the PR official at the Ghana Tourism Authority and press secretary to the Ghana former Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture. So yes, it's going to be exciting. Dominick is also the editor of Ghana's first business-oriented e-news business paper called Business 24. He has over 12 years experience in media, PR and marketing in the industry. He used to be the deputy editor at Business and Financial Times, BNFT. And he also does other PR works for brands that you know, like Turkish Airlines, Ethiopian Airlines, VFS, and more. But today I'm excited because I'm just going to sit back and listen to them. I think I'm still on. Okay, did I lose? Hello?
Yes, you're on. We can hear you.
Is she on or she's gone off?
Yeah.
She's gone
Yes.
off.
Hello? Oh, wow. So something happened. I've been talking and everything went off. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. So I was actually introducing Kojo and Dominick, and well, something happened. So please accept my apology. So I have Kojo here and I have Dominick. Kojo is an editor for a magazine called Voyages Afriq, and Dominick is also an editor. And so we are going to be informed today. Hello, Kojo. Hello, Dominick. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi. Hi
I'm
there.
good. Sorry, I don't know what happened, but everything went off.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
Okay. So
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
great. I would give you like 5 minutes to introduce yourself properly. Okay, so each one would have 5 minutes to do that. All right.
Should I start?
Okay. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, Vera, thank you for having us. And it's a pleasure to be part of this aviation business series and to talk about aviation tourism and what we do. Personally, like you said, I've been engaged in the tourism industry for a long time, and not just working as a media in the industry. I've been practicing. I've done a couple of tours. I've worked within the tourism establishment, and now what I do is we publish a Voyages Afriq travel magazine in over a dozen countries in Africa, and essentially on tourism. And personally, I do work for the World Tourism Organization as a communication manager, literally for Africa. So what I do is tourism, travel, aviation, and then just to ensure that you're part of the tourism sector that enriches the world. So that's what I do. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dominic. Hi, Dominic. Please go ahead.
Oh, hi. Yes, hi. Hi, everyone. Well, I'm just a writer who enjoys traveling. I'm just a simple writer who enjoys traveling. So I've been doing aviation and travel for close to 12 years now, both writing and traveling to see what is out there, and doing some consultancy for some airlines, notably Ethiopian, Turkish, some KLM stuff, some Africa World Airlines stuff. So currently, I edit Ghana's first e-newspaper called Business and Business 24. What we do is that we cover every aspect of business, especially on my side, aviation and tourism. We also do mining, commodities, we do oil and gas, we do banking, etc. And then aside that, I also, of course, run an aviation news portal called aviationghana.com, which most of you know, where you can go for the latest news in aviation. So when it comes to that aspect of it, you go there, you get the latest news in aviation as well. So of course, we've been in the industry for long. We know which doors to open and where to get which information for. And we hope that we'll bring that to bear on this discussion, so that at least whatever information people need to make a decision, they will get that here at the end of the show.
Great, great. Okay, so we can have all of us, and I'm getting a lot of highs. I'm getting a lot of hellos. That's wonderful. Now, my two gentlemen, what is happening in our industry? What is the news when it comes to opening up of the airports? Dominic, I start with you.
The news is that there is no industry. That's the news. That's the sad news. There is no industry. We are now starting from ground zero. So the point is that we have no industry now. We are rebuilding. We are starting from ground zero. And that's one of the things that for everybody who does what we call Phoenix tourism, or what we call Phoenix marketing or Phoenix aviation, which means that there's a disaster. After the disaster, how do you repackage yourself to be able to come up to your pre-disaster levels? Everybody who does that will be happy enough in this circumstance. Not because the circumstance is good, no, but because it gives you a clean slate to correct the wrongs, do things properly, so that when you are coming back to your pre-disaster levels, it's even better than before. So that's actually what is happening now. At the airport, you asked about airport. Nothing is really happening at the airport. Of course, there are a few repatriation flights here and there. I know Ghanaians are coming in from the US again on 29th, from Ethiopian and some other few airlines as well. But basically, because load factor has dropped drastically, the airport taxes government is also expecting they're not getting. For instance, if you look at last year, for instance, we made 521 million cedis in airport taxes alone. This year, it's projected that by the end of this year, it will drop down to about 314.1 million cedis against a projection of 556 million, which means that in January this year, we projected that we'll make 556 million cedis in airport taxes. However, based on the impact of the COVID, low numbers coming in, or virtually very few numbers going out. It means that we'll make just about 300 million cedis in airport taxes. Even that is in doubt if we don't open by 1st September. So it means that the COVID-19 has really impacted the sector. There's no money. And when you don't make enough airport taxes, it means that the likes of Ghana Airport Company will have very little money to operate. The regulators, Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, who also earns part of the airport passenger service tax, will also be deprived of money. And then the new accident investigation bureau want to set up so that when there's an accident, they go and investigate it, advise us so that accidents don't occur anymore. They are also supposed to earn 1.5% of the airport tax. So if you don't have any more taxes coming in, or you have very little taxes coming in, it means that all these entities will also suffer as well. So basically, that's what is happening in that space.
Thank you very much, Dominic, for the highlights. We'll come in and get more juice out of it. Kojo, what's happening?
I think Dominic is, is giving a helicopter view of exactly what's happening, and travel and tourism industry. And if you look at aviation, for last year, it constituted over 45% of mode of transport. Okay, and if you look at Africa, Africa even might be more because of our inadequate infrastructure, or at some point lack of infrastructure in some of these modes of transport. So we are at a standstill. Tourism came to a shut from March, and what we're beginning to see now is the fact that it's for sure it's not sustainable. All right, but then again, if you watch how governments are managing this, they have to be able to manage it from a point of a public health crisis situation, and then it knock-on effect that comes to the economic side. So we're seeing that there's a lot of businesses are shutting. I mean, a lot of businesses are down. The industry is really battered, and the travel and tourism aviation is the most affected sector. So as we speak now, it's very difficult for a lot of the businesses. But then again, the silver lining in all of this, sometimes the fact that we all realize that we had challenges with our sector. And not to jumpstart the conversation, if you look, for example, like in Ghana and most part of Africa, where inbound tourism is a main deal, what it means is that nothing is happening because the borders are shut. And so if you look at what has been happening now, it's projected that domestic to regional tourism may begin the recovery process. So right now, everything is come to a shutdown, but a lot of strategies are being developed, and it gives us the opportunity, like Dominic said correctly, to be able to correct some of the things, or even if you like, look at how we can do things better, because we knew, some of us, and we knew, I mean, many of us in the sector knew that the sector is going through some challenges that we needed to correct that. You look at inclusion, you look at the disparity and the inequality in the sector that I believe that COVID is also exposed us, in a big time. So right now, we're beginning to pick up, for example, tourism is very resilient. At the same time, it's also very fragile, so destinations are beginning to plan, because we cannot be in lockdown, or we cannot shut the borders forever. But we have to be, and bear in mind, there was no playbook for this. So we have to be able to adapt to it and look at the best practices, and realize that if we take measures, scientific measures, and look at how we can be able to bring back, jobs, or even make, because if you look at the strategies, if you don't pick a recovery strategies that centers the well-being of the people, it's also a problem. So we're saying that we can only travel when it's safe to do so. But then again, from what experts are telling us, COVID is going to be for us for the next 18 to 20 months or something. So clearly we may have to adapt to see how we can do things better. But it's been a very big pain, and I mean, the industry is really, really suffering from this crisis.
All right. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, Kojo, for the highlights. Okay, so I want to take the first part where Dominic, you mentioned we not having an industry. I mean, you didn't really mean it's not there, but you meant that it is not looking as it should look. So my question is, when you look at the global scene, how does a vibrant industry look like? How does a vibrant aviation, tourism, travel industry look like? What are those pillars that make it look like it's really a good industry?
As it stands now, we cannot pick any economy and compare it to what we are going through now, because everybody is going through the same thing. So what I meant was there is no industry, was that now nothing is moving. Everything is at a standstill. So then the challenge now is that, what is your revival strategy? If you look at Ghana's portfolio, especially when it comes to tourism, as Kojo mentioned, we depend so much on inbound tourists from Europe and Americas. The question is, what is the way forward? Can we begin to diversify what is in our tourism portfolio and emphasize more on domestic tourism? If we are going to diversify what is in our tourism portfolio and emphasize on domestic tourism, or pay more attention to domestic tourism, it will help us drive it and then probably start the revival process. I see Graphic Communication Group doing something, because they launched something just last week, which was very good. It's something we were discussing last year with them. I was involved discussing it with them last year. However, I think the COVID has actually accelerated the pace. So they launched it last week, hoping to drive more domestic tourism. This is something that used to happen a lot in the 90s. You see a lot of students going on field trips, going on excursions, but all those things die down. And we just developed the tastes for flying out and going to see other parts of the world. Sincerely, Ghanaians, or most Ghanaians, know more about what is happening in Dubai than what is happening in Accra. And a lot of Ghanaians will mention all the US states for you, sitting in Ghana, mention all the US states for you, tell you everything happening in New York. Meanwhile, they know very few places in Accra. So this is the opportune time for us to diversify that tourism portfolio and drive some of these domestic tourism. Whilst we are building that, I'm sure when the recovery process is better elsewhere around the world and we're able to travel out, it will be fine. So we can balance it out. We have good mix of domestic tourism, and then we can mix it out with the inbound ones who also give us a lot of money.
Okay, so I like the fact that you mention specifics when it comes to domestic tourism. Now, a lot of people might think that it's about you taking your children or your husband or your wife and going to Tamale to do what? Spend a weekend there. But you have mentioned that there is more to actually moving. There is more when it comes to education. You have to know what your constituency has, what your country has. What is the part that the media is playing in this game?
Fortunately, that answer is very easy for us, because if you look at what Graphic is doing, which I said we started somewhere last year, August, September, to plan, it's very good, because they've taken it upon themselves to do something like that. But of course, I'll give it to CTFM. They started this about 6 years ago, where they do Tour Ghana every year. And we see that the numbers are increasing. They're able to drive it or market it so much that people are interested in seeing what is around them. So the media is also actually playing a critical role in that endeavor. Of course, we expect to see more of such partnerships between tour agencies and the media, where the media will design various programs and projects in collaboration with tour operators, and then the tour operators will implement it. Or the tour operator design various projects and programs, give it to the media to own it and sell it, and then the tour operators will execute it for their mutual benefit, so that it benefits both parties. We expect to see a lot of those collaborations. I know of some other more coming up. So we expect to see a lot more of those collaborations between the media houses, tour operators, and some other tour companies as well, to drive some of these things as well.
Thank you, Dominic. I'll come back to you. Kojo?
Yes.
So you write a magazine that is across the continent, not only Ghana, correct? How is it looking? How is the industry looking in the other parts of Africa? Not Ghana, in the other parts of Africa.
I mean, like I said, you see, when we had this challenge and the fact that there is no playbook that you could say that this exactly you have to do this to be able to correct it. So based on your situation and how the cases are being managed, it gives down the the industry some confidence to be able to build back. So if you look at what's happening in Africa,
Yes.
some countries have announced their intent to open up. I mean, some have even opened up. Few less than a dozen countries have planned to open up from August 1st. Now, if you look at Kenya, if you look at Rwanda, Seychelles Island, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea-Conakry, I think Tunisia, Egypt, and about 12 countries, intend to open up. Now, what they're doing is they've put up the measures in place, the protocols that they believe that it would guarantee safety of their staff and then for the public. So they are enforcing these measures because remember that long haul is going to take a long time. Okay, and as Dominic said, of course, domestic tourism is going to be one of the areas that will lead the recovery. But we shouldn't also forget that necessarily when we say domestic tourism, that we have to promote domestic tourism, it cannot, balance the fall because there's no foreign exchange, etc. But what it does is that it's able to give you a sector that will be your shocks, for the market. And if you look at it critically, we're realizing that destinations are changing in terms of the paradigm shift of the domestic product because you have to also be able to have some product that appeals to your citizens. Because people are going to Dubai, people are going to Kenya, other countries. The fact that if they do the cost benefit analysis is best and it gives them some value for money. It's not just about just going to Ghana when they believe that they can travel. It's quite expensive, and then what you get in return, you don't. So we have to look at the product diversification, product development. That will be attractive for the market. Now, if you look at the African countries, governments and other institutions are working together with the private sector to ensure that they have a plan that, as we speak now, they have residential rates, they have domestic rates, and these are things that you have to do to be able to keep the business running, not necessarily looking like international profits. So some other countries are opening up. Like I said, Tanzania is still running. You have Kenya, but remember that in all of this, the key thing, the key thing that would define what you become post the COVID is going to be trust. So in as much as you have to open up, you have to be conscious of what you are doing, that you aim the trust. Because remember, trust, you don't just wake up and get trust. So it will be based on things that you put in place, the measures, how people are enforcing the rules and ensuring that the destination is safe. Because in tourism and for the long haul, people now is going to take health very seriously. That's why you're saying that long haul is going to be, it's going to take time because, in fact, the last projection that was done by a U.S. company, they were looking at 2023 for us to come to 2019 level in terms of tourism. So that's one aspect. The other aspect I'd like to touch on, is the fact that we have to be able to promote more intra-African travels. And you realize that sometimes now is better. Before you have to be going to Milan and coming back to Africa. And these are things that, because we have over 1.3 billion population. Let's even assume that we are having 300 million traveling. That in itself is significant for it to stimulate growth, business, tourism on the continent. Okay, so if we can put our minds to it, the artificial boundaries that we have, the e-visa processes, visa fees are very expensive just here in Africa. So once we can do that, then now people are able to take vacation, and people are able to, do that. Again, one point I'd like to also touch is the fact that, look, and because it's aviation and tourism, we have to be able to as countries, open up, freedom right, The days where you have careers, flat careers are past and gone. It's about connectivity. And when your destination is well connected and you are competitive, then you are able to attract people, because people are in America, people are in Europe, I mean, people are in UK who want to travel to destination, but they have the options, because you go to a destination that have a East African visa, you can do 3 countries and still pay $100. So these are things that, and tourism work in synergy. And so if we don't get all the subsectors working closely well with the sector, I'm sorry, tourism just put everything together. That would be difficult. So going forward, we need to give attention to domestic tourism. In fact, there ought to be a paradigm shift in terms of the products that we offer. Again, we look at regional tourism. And tourism now, personally, I've not trusted mass tourism, because now we're going to see tourism that's more niche marketing. Some have said that it's going to be expensive. But then again, because remember that you're going to put in new measures, protocols that you put in place, and some of these things will have to be paid for. Okay, and it will ultimately go to the end user, and the fact that people will be cautious or be careful trying to go to areas of high density, of people, and so you realize that niche tourism is going to play a key role. Some claim will be expensive, but the fact that you won't see high numbers in terms of mass tourism and in terms of the over tourism that we're talking about. So what I'll say is that other African countries are opening up. You can't just stand up and copy, but before you open, you should have the measures. You have a drill. You should be able to see that if a traveler come in and then he's not well, or he or she is showing symptoms of COVID, what happens? Do the hotel or do the destination have places and where they can take them to? So if you put in all these mechanisms, then it gives you confidence for people to travel, and the fact that you are ready and prepared. We cannot be 100%, but the fact that at least we ensure that we have these measures well laid out, that people will have trust in the destination.
All right. Thank you so much, Kojo. So far, all the points that both yourself and Dominic have raised looks very professional, and it goes to the professionals in the industry. It goes to the ministry, it goes to stakeholders in the industry. And I really want to know what the people outside the industry, the clients, the customers, the consumers should begin to do to get ready, or should also begin to do to be part of the change. What should be our mindset if I'm not a professional in the aviation industry, if I'm not a marketer in the tourism industry? How should I begin to prepare myself and be a part of this change?
Let me add this before I think Dominic can, or let me even actually start this conversation. So for us now in the tourism industry and from the UNWTO, is restarting tourism, but then again building back better. Okay, building back better means also that for the traveler, we need to be able to uphold things like the global tourism ethics that we use, because our actions, first of all, when you have tourism and you have a sector, it is the people. And so if we can be very responsible enough in what we are doing, in terms of our practices, in terms of our being responsible travelers, it helps, carve a better sector for us. And then we are able to at least mitigate the effect that would have come, or, in future. Because remember that where did we started from some before we got to over-tourism, and people's actions and inactions contributed to a lot of things happening to the sector now. Now we're even talking about carbon emissions. We are looking at green tourism. We're looking at how, people are not littering around, because if you litter, the consequence is dire. You may not see it instantly on the sector, but it has a bigger knock-on effect. So people who are now in the sector also have crucial roles to play, either being a tourist, a traveler. You have to ensure that you are being responsible, you're wearing your masks, you are putting on the hand sanitizer, you are keeping all the protocol, because it is these things that would, in fact, start the recovery. And I believe you've heard what's happening in some part of Spain, in Catalonia, where there's a new outbreak. I mean, the second wave, and it was also because how people were not taking some of the measures, seriously. So my view on people who are not in the industry and how they can contribute is for them to be able to uphold the ethics of of the sector. That then helps us to build back well.
Thank you. Dominic, your take?
All right. Before I go to what the people can do to prepare for tourism, I'll share a small screen with you. I don't know if you can see it now.
Let's try.
Can you see my screen?
No.
Okay, share screen, 1 second.
Try. It might be difficult.
Okay, I think it's here. 1 second. I found a document.
So those watching us, please note that we are speaking about development in the sector, tourism, aviation, hospitality, and we are hearing from our communications specialist, Kojo from the UNWTO, and also a managing editor of Voyages, Afriq magazine, and Dominick Andoh, a managing editor for Business 24. So please keep your comments.
Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you see my screen now? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Look at point 307. Point 307. Right. This is what the minister read during the mid-year budget review. Look at the number of people who have cancelled, tourists who have cancelled their visits to Ghana. 11,558 tourists which have cancelled their visits to Ghana. And it means that he's projecting a revenue loss of 4.8 million Ghana cedis this year alone from tourism. So the tourism sector is expected to lose this amount of money based on all the people who are not coming in. So the question is, how do we bridge some of the gap? Some of the gap is what we've discussed: domestic tourism, regional tourism. Why should I just fly from Spain to Ghana and tour only Ghana? Why can't I move from Ghana to Ivory Coast and Liberia, etc.? Come to one region, tour 4, 5, 6 countries, like we do when we have Schengen visas. We go to Portugal, go to Spain, go to all those places. Like Kojo was saying, those are the things that will drive up the numbers. If we, as customers or as regular people, like the question you asked, what we can do to revive tourism, we should begin to think home, domestic and regional. How well do you know Timbuktu? Have you heard of Timbuktu before? How well do you know Mali? How well do you know the history of West Africa?
Exactly.
How well do you know the history of the ancient Ghana Empire?
Serengeti, Ngorongoro. Yeah. And in fact,
how well do you know the cradle of mankind, where mankind began from in East Africa?
Yeah.
Have you visited it before? Those are the things we are talking about.
Gentlemen, now you are confusing us.
No, those are the things we are talking about. So we are saying that, look, go visit Mali. I went to Timbuktu before. I was on my way to Timbuktu when there was a sandstorm. We sheltered in a room. After the sandstorm, I still went to Timbuktu. I just wanted to see Timbuktu University because of the history, the oldest university you can ever have in the world. You just have to go. So what we are saying is that think local. Within our own set in Ghana here, which places can you visit? What are the historical facts behind it? Think regional. Do you know Ivory Coast that well? Do you know their capital actually isn't Abidjan? How well do you know Senegal? How well do you know Liberia, Sierra Leone? How well do you know East Africa, Tanzania, Ethiopia? How well do you know the origins of mankind somewhere between the Great Lakes, where we talk about? So you can plan some of these trips. So if you're going to East Africa, where they have a well-developed visa system, you take one visa, you can tour 3, 4, 5, 6 countries. It's better than flying all the way to, I don't want to mention some place in Europe. You fly all the way to probably Greece and tour Greece, go to all those places and come back. If you look at the travel distance, etc., better you just go to East Africa here and deal with it. After all, we are managing our COVID cases better than Europe anyway. So those are some of the things you can do. Again, in terms of the passengers, customers, tourists, etc., we must be responsible, like Kojo is saying. If we go to a hotel and lodge there, can we not just misuse the water? Can we not misuse the AC or electricity, etc.? That's another part. Again, those countries which are opening up, they require that you take a corona or COVID-19 test, probably 72 hours before you board your flight. If you're able to do that, it means that you're also protecting yourself and protecting the people on the plane you are traveling with. This disease, of course, it's not dependent on you protecting yourself. This is the only disease where my safety depends on you. So if you wear your mask, you are protecting me. And if I wear mine, I'm protecting you.
That's true.
So we must be responsible in that sense. Let's help protect each other. That will greatly help. So do more domestic tourism with your family. Do more regional tourism. Tell them the history of Africa, West Africa. Let them have the desire to travel to other West African countries. Of course, West Africa is just one visa. You take your passport and you go. You don't need a visa in West Africa.
No, but you know, Dominic, even if you look at West Africa again, for West Africans, remember that if you are traveling to Nigeria or Benin or Cote d'Ivoire by road, it's a hell of a time. And sometimes people like to do road trips, okay? But the kind of challenge that you have at the borders discourages you from taking that, those adventurous trips.
Yes. Road trips are a nightmare in West Africa. They're a nightmare in West Africa.
So I was going to ask the challenges that you have. I was about to ask you the challenges that you have, and you've already started mentioning some, but I want us to put it in categories. So you have a challenge with some of the policies not up to date. The policies not up to date. You have a challenge of the consumers not having a taste for local products in terms of local tourism.
Yeah.
What other challenges are you having?
No, but okay.
Cecilia, let me come here. Let me come in before Kojo. If you talk about the consumers one, I don't blame them so much. Look, it's too expensive to travel within Ghana.
Exactly.
I'll pay 400 cedis for a simple hotel somewhere in Akosombo. When the same 400 cedis, I can fly to Lisbon, and the same 400 cedis sleep for 2 or 3 nights. And it's not the fault of the hoteliers because they have to get almost 20 different permits before they operate as a hotel. So if you are taxing them so much, they also have no option than to pass it on to the end user. So what we are saying is that yes, our authorities must begin to look at some of these things. Tourism and aviation is a numbers game. Cut down on the taxes on the sector. Let more people travel. The little taxes you get, if you are going to get 200 million cedis from 100 people, and now you have 40,000 people, and you are making 500 million, is it not better? So we are thinking that look at some of these taxes that's choking the sector, the hoteliers especially. Bring it down. Then people will be able to travel and do some of these things. That's the
also
first.
Let me buttress what Dominic just said. That see, people want to travel, and like for example, people will go to Dubai or go to Sao Tome or Cabo Verde or any other countries you mentioned about. Now, remember that the customer or the passenger or the traveler wants value for his or her money. Okay, so the fact that he wants to know Ghana, but then it is not competitive in terms of other destinations. You choose places that, and you know what it means to travel out of the shores of your country, whether the person like it or yeah, it's part of the traveling vibes that any traveler would like to have experience in different destinations. It's good to have in your country, but if the product, because people have the issue of the product not commensurating with what is being charged, and that's what Dominic said, that if we can be able to put up or institute deliberate policies, that would stimulate interest and growth. Now, if you want to do a trip to, for example, Kakum Castle, Kakum National Park, what's going to happen if you're not driving? You need to go through the process of joining the bus, this, etc. So for me, I agree with Dominic what he's saying, that if we can be able to look at some of these bylaws or measures or tax incentives or something, it will help the sector to be able to attract people in traveling to Ghana. Because if you are traveling to Ghana and you're going to pay $100 or something, then you're better off to add some fuel and then you fly out of the country. So that's the one. Another challenge is air access. Now, if you look at the air access, like he rightly mentioned, is an authority on that. So you realize that air access, sometimes we knew airlines that couldn't come to the destination because we know a lot of things happening behind the scene. Now, if you don't have competition, what then happens is that it's now quite difficult for people, for your destination, for people to choose your destination, because air access and then visa facilitation. Okay, I still believe that our visa on arrival is very expensive. It's around $50. Okay, it's not competitive. So these are some of the things that if we can eliminate or we can work on it, it will be good for us as a destination, and also help, because tourism, as you know, tourism employs every 10th person in the world, one is employed by tourism. Okay, and the sector, just like aviation, tourism, they are propellers. Aviation is a propeller. If you don't use them, you can't conduct any business. All right. So if we can be able to look around some of these laws, some of these measures, we sit in a very advantaged position as a country. Okay, our proximity to Europe, Americas is quite far, and all, but we have advantage of our stability, all of that. But again, people's ability to pay and value for money these days sometimes override political stability.
All right. If you look at, let me add one more. If you look at the infrastructure around and leading to tourism sites, it's bad. We need to spend more money on that. Yes, we need to develop the infrastructure, road, electricity. You go to a particular tourism site and you don't even have a place of convenience, which is bad. So these are some of the things we have to spend money on and develop well so that people will do it. Secondly, if we are going to start the revival process for customers to benefit, the hotels, they are sitting there empty. You go to Royal Century and Co, they are sitting there empty. Why don't you start reducing? You reduce it to the barest minimum. It's better to make 1% than nothing. Let the hotel be sitting down there and spending money renovating. So what we are saying is that for this period, the hoteliers can also look at dropping some of the rates, only if government also forgoes a lot of the taxes it charges them. They are not making money anyway. We are saying that they should reduce the rate to just probably 1% or 2%, just so they earn something to maintain the facility. Government, waive your taxes so that people can also go there, they earn something to maintain the facility, prepare for the eventual takeoff.
Okay. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, Kojo. I know you have been doing this for over 15, 12 years. My question now is, COVID started somewhere in March in Ghana. Between that March and now in July, we are entering into August. All the ideas, all the publications that you have made, have you seen any change?
You mean, can you come again, please?
I'm saying that since March that COVID-19 started, up until now, you have been speaking about the way forward. I mean, in your publications, in your webinars and all that, you have. Has something changed?
Yes, I don't think that we kind of expect wholesale changes, but the good thing is that, look, this is the time that tourism, in all the numbers that we command in terms of employment figures and revenues, this is the first time that attention is being shifted to tourism, travel and tourism around the world. Now, we've seen that some of the, aside the stimulus packages, some governments have gone ahead to ensure that there are key, bylaws that they want to use to be able to lead their recovery. And they've set aside funds to push that. So there is some wins that we are having even on the continent. You see, and the fact that we need to also understand that we have different countries and their priorities. But then again, you can appreciate that countries are beginning to understand what tourism does to their economy, and when they shut down, it's complete shutdown. So some things are happening. Even in Ghana here, for example, we have the grants being given to tourism businesses to be able to help them in this situation. So we may not see, we may not be experiencing, if you like, very in terms of wholesale with a legislation, okay. But at least there are some wins that we can be proud of as a sector, and that's happening. And if you look at, again, in Kenya, what they did was that they had discussion with the Tourism Federation to say that, yes, we know that it's tough time, but in terms of people not getting salaries, what can we do? Okay, can we pay half of that or 1/3 of that they can fashion it out as part of their policies in future? Because, like I said, there's no playbook. So there are things that is evolving every day. And the COVID itself is tough for us because now every day there's new development. And from the expert, excuse me, people pick what's happening from the expert view, then we can be able to tune or adjust what we're saying. So yeah, we may not see, a transmogrification of the sector at a go, but at least there's few things happening that we can be proud of. That's what I can say.
All right. So in terms of the support, I think they launched a $9 million support by the tourism ministry about 4 weeks ago to help, when you walk by Oxford Street, those who sell by the street, the hoteliers, those who have been laid off, etc., to help them. But the main thing is that we need to also have a look at the policy. Can we waive taxes and charges for hotels and hospitality sector for this year and next year? Because this corona, the aftershock is going to go all the way to about 2022. Can we waive taxes and all those charges for them to bring the cost of operations down? When their cost of operation is down, then they have no reason to charge all those very high room rates that they put out there. So those are some of the things they can do to really help the industry.
Okay. So one of the things
and then just sorry that we're just bombarding with this, but again, one very crucial thing that we have to look at is the tourism SMEs. Okay. Often than not, we are talking about the big corporates, the big companies, the big hotels, the big chains. But the tourism SMEs are suffering, and nobody goes to their aid. So it's important that once we are building back better, inclusion is one of the key things we have to do. First of all, we have to make inclusion part of our tourism ecosystem, and people are able to be part of it. And then we can be able to also ensure that responsible tourism, green tourism is a major part of our tourism sector. These things are very important. Then lastly, what I was going to touch on was to say that one area that we need to work on is the inequality, or if you want to call it disparity, in the sector, because then that will mean that who is taking care of the casual workers, or who is speaking for them? A lot of them have been put out. We know that they are casual, but some of the laws or the things that they are being meted to them, I think it's unfair. And so, as a sector, if you want to build back better, we have to be able to look at all these splinter groups, if I may put it, and ensure that they are part, because in fact they contribute significantly in terms of the service delivery to our sector. So that will be my part in short, if there's no other things to say.
One last thing I would like to add is that if you look at the hotels, that we're talking about, like Kojo was saying, not just the big hotels. We need to also empower the medium-sized and small ones. I was very happy when I saw the list of hotels. They've stated that Ghanaians coming from US next week, they are supposed to book with them and also quarantine or stay there for 14 days. On the list, I saw Alisa Hotel. I was like, Alisa again? You mentioned these big hotels. What about the small ones? And then fortunately, you read down, you see a hotel like Kogdam Hotel, Max Lot Hotel, Alma Hotel, Bel Air Crest. We expect to see some of these names, some of these small hotels, medium-sized ones where the rates are affordable, so that people can also book and stay with them. We are all struggling, but it also means that when you are sharing the meat, make sure the small ones also get some to stay in business. That when this is over, they are also there for us to also go and use their services.
Awesome. The time is up, but we will have to do a part 2 of this because I am not done with even half of my questions. So I would let you stay with me and we'll have a part 2, okay? But for now, for my viewers, if you have a question specifically to what we've spoken about, let me have the question and then we would have a part 2, because now we want to know the journey of these two gentlemen. As we have spoken about the development of the day, we want to know about the profession as communication experts. How is the journey like? What do you have to do as a professional to come in? What do you have to do as a student to polish yourself and all that? And that will be the part 2 of our discussion. So if I am having, okay, so I'm having a hi, a hello. Hello, Mavis. Hello, Selena. Teddy, hi. William, greetings to Dominic. Dominic, William says hello. William, nice one.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. Willie, hope you're good.
Great. So we are going to end here for the part 1, and next week we'll bring you the part 2. Okay. So please hold on for me, my guests. Okay, so it's been an exciting discussion. I decided to keep quiet so that the gentlemen of the day would really tell us the developments. They have been in this for long. They have been in the industry for long. They have also been working around tourism, specifically travel and aviation. And so if we have a question, we need to ask them now. They've spoken about the policies that they expect to change. They've spoken about what we as non-professionals in the industry need to do as consumers, what we need to do to support. And I believe that we will take a clue here and there. If this is the first time that you're watching the show, this is Aviation Business Series. We are doing a July edition of development, and today we spoke about development being informed. Now, if no question is coming, then we'll wrap up and see you next week, okay? So let me know if you have a question. I'll be back. Okay, so thank you very much. I say, please always know that we are with you to expand knowledge, to explore opportunities, and to celebrate milestones. Don't miss the part 2 of this program, this particular edition where we speak with Dominick Andoh and we speak with Kojo Bentum-Williams. Don't miss the part 2. We'll definitely premiere it, so don't miss the part 2. And I'll see you next week. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye.